Hey, KU fans, welcome back to KU Sports Extra, Week 9 of the college football season for Kansas, Week 1 of the exhibition season for Kansas basketball. Does it get better than that, Tom, for KU Sports Extra?
Oh, yeah, it does.
It does?
Yeah, the Final Four would probably be better, and there's a good chance Kansas will get there this year, and we'll do a Sports Extra episode.
On location?
Houston.
Wow, that's exciting. Well, anyway, we've got plenty of good news to talk about this week. Little bad news, and we'll start it off just like we always do. The good news, in my opinion anyway, is that I think more than ever, David Beatty gets it. He's got some shortcomings as a coach, but I think the way he has gone about this season, understanding that it's not just wins and losses and points and record and all those things, but it's about developing these guys during the season too. He talked a lot about that during his press conference this week. He's talked about it all year, but he really got into it this week, and I thought it was a phenomenal thing to hear about because while these guys are preparing for Iowa State and Texas and Oklahoma State, doing game plans, scheming against those teams, they're also trying to develop their skills, their technique, their fundamentals, and those things. It's essentially trying to do two jobs in the same time as you would do.
And I wonder if you would lump Iowa State in there, or if they thought Iowa State maybe they'd scheme a little more because it was a little more
winnable.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it wasn't.
And I think he does get it in that regard. That is so important to not only let him develop in games, but to just spend a lot of the practice on developing. I think he would admit that he made one mistake in not getting it this year, and that was taking so many graduate transfers, which shrinks the size of this coming recruiting class.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I think the best part about this dual development thing that's been happening, though, is I talked to a bunch of the players. They don't even recognize that it's happening. They think it's just
especially freshmen. Yeah, how would they know?
Yeah, so that was really cool to hear those guys say, "Oh no, I know they're developing us, but it doesn't seem any different. It doesn't make me more tired or fatigued or anything like that." So he's really done a nice job of sort of walking that line between something that's really difficult. It's not easy to do. Who knows if it'll pay off? That remains to be seen, and it has to for it to be effective. But he does understand it, and I think that's great. As far as bonus good news, I think the bonus good news is that there should be a decision about Sheck Diallo coming pretty soon. Coach Self said he'd hoped by Wednesday, that first exhibition game. At the very least, though, he said by the season opener, the regular season opener. So that's right around the corner. And whatever the decision is, I think it'll be good news just to hear it at this point. What's the bad news?
And it would be better news if Sheck Diallo is
then
cleared.
It would be easy good news.
Obviously, the bad news is that the KU football team is going on the road again, and they have lost. The Jayhawks have lost 36 in a row away from Lawrence. The official losing streak is 33 because they don't count the 3 neutral site losses at Arrowhead Stadium. And one reason that's bad news is they're facing a very hungry, emotional Texas team that's embarrassed coming off a 24-0 loss at Iowa State. So this is going to be more like the team that beat Oklahoma than it is the team that lost to Iowa State. So that's bad news for the Jayhawks.
And you said it. The team that just got blanked by Iowa State is a 31-point favorite over Kansas.
Right.
If that doesn't sum up this season in the most perfect manner, I don't know what does. That line blew my mind. Yours?
Did not blow my mind. In fact, if I had to, I'm not a betting man, but if I had to, I'd go with the Longhorns here.
Incredible.
You know, during this whole streak, the average score is in the mid-40s to the low 10s, like 44-13. And that every coach has about that average.
Right, yeah. It hasn't changed.
Yeah.
And I really thought this year it would change. I really did. I thought they were going to lose a lot more games. 55-28 or 55.
I didn't, because this is such a young team. I mean, it's unbelievable how young these guys are, and inexperienced and thin. They don't have any depth. They're playing more walk-ons than they played in a long, long time, and they're playing more freshmen than they played in a long, long time.
Didn't you think this offense would score, though? I mean, they're not scoring. They're averaging 16 points a game in the Big 12. That's not going to beat anybody. That wouldn't beat anybody in the MAC. I thought we'd see more points.
Well, they just get dominated up front, though.
That's true. Well, let's talk about the Texas game down in Austin, 7 o'clock on the Jayhawk television network, also the Longhorn network, one of those shared things, the little hand-in-hand kumbaya moment between the two TV networks.
Yeah.
Should be beautiful.
Tear to the eye.
That doesn't make you cry.
A single tear rolling down your cheek.
As you mentioned, Texas is going to be upset, and the bad news about that is Texas has big-time athletes that are fast, strong, physical, and know how to play this game at a very, very high level. When you get that kind of team angry, it's not good.
Texas hasn't been Texas for a while now,
right.
except when Texas plays Kansas, and then Texas becomes Texas because they're so much bigger and faster than Kansas.
Right, yeah, KU every time down to Austin lately has had a hard time even racking up any yardage totals, not even just points. So this one could come down to heart, too, in terms of competitiveness. I mean, is Texas willing to step up and show some heart and say, we're not happy with getting blank? Do they have what you mentioned, that ferocious bounce back in them? And does Kansas continue to say, I don't care if we're 0-8, I don't care if we're the laughingstock of college football, we're going to show up, we're going to get up after every play we get knocked down on and just keep competing?
I think Kansas does have that. They've shown that. It's been impressive. Their body language has stayed good, which isn't easy.
Agreed.
And I also think Texas has the bounce back in them. They're going to have 100,000 of their fans there. They're not going to want to get embarrassed at home the way they did on the road.
Are they, though? Do you think they'll have 100,000? I mean, I don't think they show up for Kansas.
You don't?
I've been to Texas 4 or 5 times now. I've never seen a good crowd there, and it's because they're playing Kansas.
Yeah, and this is the 4th different coach in their last 4 trips.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So we'll see.
And you want to go back. Yeah, in their last 5 trips, I guess it'd be their 5th different.
Yeah. Wow. Night game, we'll see. You want to see a big time atmosphere. I'd love to see Texas, Oklahoma there. Obviously, they don't play it there, but I'd love to see a game like that there because Texas has always been sort of meh to me. Anyway, I've yet to see a big time atmosphere. The stadium's cool. The stuff around the stadium is fantastic. It's on campus. That's beautiful, but inside, it doesn't seem like they care.
No, and maybe part of that is that when we're there, it's Kansas.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's exactly right. I've yet to benefit from that. So,
yeah.
All right, well, let's jump to it. You said you would take the Longhorns. I would imagine your score has more than a 31-point spread then. What'd you predict?
42-10.
32.
It's a 32-point spread.
Gosh.
But if you take the last 3 results in Austin between these teams, the average score was 43-11. So I'm figuring nothing has changed.
1 point each way.
Yeah.
In the same ballpark. I got 41-14. I got to think the emphasis going back to the end of that Oklahoma game when KU only scored 7 and really was gift-wrapped that 7 by the muffed punt. They talked a lot in the postgame about why they're not scoring points. I think they've really looked at that a little more. I think they get 2 touchdowns instead of 1 this week. And I don't know how they're going to do it. I really don't. But I think if you're looking for something, it would be the running game. As Rob Likens said, that's where they set everything up. And if they can't run the ball, then all the rest of it breaks loose. And that's who I'm going to go with primetime pick. I'm going to go DeAndre Mann. I think they're going to find something that you can maybe they are overmatched. Physically, they don't have the bodies, and they're not strong enough to just blow holes open for these guys. But I think Rob Likens took that personally. I think he's really upset about this running game. He was asked, he said, the last 2 games you've been averaging about a yard a rush. And he looked up to the reporter who asked that and said, is it really? I mean, to his credit, he said, I don't look at the stats. I'm kind of over that. And I thought his reasoning for how he judges this running game was good. He said, we don't have the strong guys. We need to get stronger. We need to get more physical. But what I do is I look at it and I say, did we make the right call? Did we run into numbers? Is it a sound play? Is it something that if we had equal athletes would have worked or should have worked? Yeah, and if that's the case, I try not to get too down on myself. So I got DeAndre Mann, and I think that's why. I think they're going to find some way to get this running game going just a little bit more. He could be the player of the game with 67 yards. I don't know. I'm not exactly saying he's going to light the world on fire.
Rob Likens can take it personally, but he probably weighs, 180 pounds?
Yeah.
There's nothing he can do about the mismatch.
Right, physically.
And it's great that he's questioning himself and all that. That's what you do as a coach, but it all comes back to one team has really big, really strong players, and the other team has really, really young players, and young players aren't strong yet.
Yeah, and they are developing. I think that's one thing I learned this week, too. Who was it that Beatty said has added 90 pounds to his bench press in the season this year?
Was that McCauley?
Yeah. It was. Clyde McCauley, the offensive tackle, the freshman. 90 pounds to his bench press in season. That's unheard of, and that's a credit to Janae Jackson, the strength coach, his staff. And really,
to Clyde McCauley.
Yeah, right. And Beatty and the whole philosophy of what they're trying to do. So who's your primetime pick for this one?
Dorrance Armstrong, I think he may be the best pure talent on this football team. He's from Houston. I'm sure he'll have a ton of family there.
Yeah.
And he's getting more and more playing time because he is so talented. He had 2 sacks last week, and Beatty said after the game there's a lot more he could have done. So, hey, after they show him the film, maybe there is a lot more he'll do.
Really cool that Ben Goodman said Dorrance Armstrong is the kind of kid who could be all Big 12 a couple of years by his junior, senior year. That's pretty cool. I mean, that obviously a guy that thinks highly of him. Finish it off, obnoxious. Who do you have? And tell me it's good.
Okay, it's good.
Thank you.
My most obnoxious man in sports is not the first person who came up with the idea to connect the Royals World Championship with KU football and break into Memorial Stadium and tear down the goalposts. Not the person who came up with the idea.
Wait, that doesn't make sense to you?
But they both put up a 7 in their last game. That's the only connection I could find. The person who said, that's a good idea. Let's do it. I mean, I understand that you like to party when you're in college. I did when I was in college.
Right.
I don't think I was ever so whacked that I could connect that to Jupiter to Mars, you know?
Right, yeah. And there were plenty of college kids who took to Mass Street, partied their faces off after that Royals World Series title, and had a great time without breaking into Memorial Stadium and making it football related. I'll never understand that as long as I live.
No. But you'd have to be in that state of mind, maybe.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I'm not.
Yeah.
And I think the viewers are too, because this would be really hard to watch if I was. It's hard to watch anyway when I get rambling. My most obnoxious man in sports this week is a single man, and his name is Mike Leach. You remember that name? Yeah, everybody wanted him to be KU's coach a few years ago. He's got Washington State at 500 right now. I mean, he's 4th year there. He's doing all right. But what I don't like about Mike Leach this week is that he whined ahead of his game against Arizona State about the Sun Devils stealing signs. You know, he said the last 2 games I think they've done that, and the other programs have said that too, and we should investigate that. I don't like it. The Pac-12 needs to look at that, before the game. Isn't that basically saying we know we're going to get beat?
No, I think it's brilliant.
Do you?
Yeah, it's like now they got to look at it. If they've been doing it and he knows they've been doing it,
I hate it.
Now they can't.
I hate it. I hate when people do that. I hate when they massage umpires for the strike zone. I hate when stars like Kobe Bryant or Tim Duncan massage the refs and say, "Hey, he's fouling me," and then the next trip down they get the foul called. I don't like that. What I do like is that Arizona State coach Todd Graham came out in response to Mike Leach's, protest here and said, "Yeah, we steal signs. And everybody does it. People steal ours too, and we're going to keep doing it." Well, there's your investigation. You don't even have to look much farther than that. So I like the stud move by Graham, and I don't like the whining by Leach. That's all the time we've got. We'll be in Austin for KU Texas Saturday night, 7 p.m. We'll see what the Jayhawks can do, and then next week we will have plenty of basketball to talk about as well, because that season is about to get underway for real. For Tom Keegan, I'm Matt Tait. We'll talk to you guys next time on KU Sports Extra.